James, do I have it? Do I have idea muscle? Like the same way that you talked about it in today's must-read Financial Times Tuesday column? What do you think? Does it look like financial? I mean, I worked out.
Jim, clearly you have idea muscle. Now I know your personal trainer also gives you lots of stock tips for Mad Money and so on. But it's a hard thing to actually build.
It's not this. There's something to it beyond just the physical muscle.
Yeah, there's the physical shape and also the mental shape.
All right, tell me, flesh it out for me.
I mean, but it's always an interesting thing with Mad Money, and people wonder this all the time. How do you come up with ideas every day for Mad Money? Right. It's impossible, really, but it's not. And this actually reminds me of how you and I met. So this
people don't know. And I got to tell you, I forgot it. Right. Until we closed the deal, Stock Picker, I get so many emails, I forgot. What was the process?
Well, I'll tell you, I wanted to start writing for TheStreet.com. It was a great website. I wanted to start writing for it. This was the summer of 2002. And so I wrote a bunch of emails to people here, probably to you as well, and I said I want to write for TheStreet.com. Of course, nobody responds. Nobody's ever. And people send me emails. I'm sure people send you emails. If they just want to meet you, it's not going to happen.
Right.
What they've got to do is give.
What did you do in that email that caught my attention?
Well, what I did was
because I did email, I did respond, right? I mean, I wasn't on a trance of reject.
Right. So instead of just saying, "Oh, Jim, please let me write for TheStreet.com," I actually said, "Jim, here are 10 ideas for you to write." And one of them was there were a bunch of companies trading below the cash they had in the bank. I thought that would have been an interesting article.
Right.
Another one was there were all these utility companies like Duke yielding 15, 16% in their preferred stocks. Thought that was an interesting topic. I had a whole bunch of ideas like that. And finally you wrote back. It was the best email I ever got. James, just come on board, right, for TheStreet.com. It took another 4 months after that to actually get me to start writing.
Okay, but were those examples, those things that you sent me, were they the definition of idea muscle, or is the falafel chain idea muscle?
Well, everything is, because what you've got to do, the only way, and it's very important, the only way to keep having ideas is to just exercise that muscle. Every day, you have to do this like clockwork. I don't know if you do this, I do this. Every morning, have to list 10 to 20 ideas. They could be great ideas. They could be horrible ideas. I mean...
Well, look, I tell you. Let me give you an example, and tell me if this is idea muscle. Last night on Stock Picker Answers, someone says, look, I don't like the contest that TheStreet.com is running because it's unrealistic. You preach diversification, Jim. Every Wednesday I do Am I Diversified on Mad Money. This portfolio that you asked me to do is really just one stock in the Beat the Street competition. How about a portfolio of stocks? So I go into Tom Clark, who's the CEO of TheStreet.com, and say, listen, let's do like my baseball rotisserie league. You have to have 5 stocks, minimum of 5. Maybe you should have 10 stocks. Different sectors, hopefully, but maybe people front load. And you trade once on Friday. Is that an idea muscle?
Well, yes, and I'll tell you what's great about that, because the real, and you probably see this too, the real secret, I think, of creativity and innovation is to combine ideas. So you just said, let's look at my baseball rotisserie league, and let's take ideas from that, which has nothing to do with the stock market, and apply it to what this guy said on Stock Picker Answers, and make a new contest. And that might even be a better contest. And that's the only way to really have innovation. Let's look at the restaurant business and the stock market and see, how we could find stocks that are interesting.
But let's go full circle with the latter. Darden recently closed the Smoky Bones. And the reason why is there's too many barbecue places. Now, if I were Clarence Otis from Darden and I read this article about falafel and how there's a line of falafel stands, I might be tempted to try the concept. Why are there big-time executives who are afraid of flexing their idea muscle?
Well, I think they're afraid of Wall Street. I think they're afraid of their board. I think they're afraid of activist shareholders thinking that they're spending too much time on things. But as you know, in any business, 50% of your decisions are just going to be bad. They're just not going to work out. And 50% are going to be, hopefully, phenomenal. Even if 50% are decent, you're going to have a phenomenal business. Okay. So execs need to try things. Look at Google. They say 15% of your time has to be on new experimental things. If you're an employee, that's brilliant. That's how they got Gmail. That's how they got Google Maps.
Right.
So,
well, let me just give you one, then we'll wrap this one up because I've got a lot to say today. But I was on a plane 2 years ago with a guy who had invented Baja Fresh. Okay? And Baja Fresh happens to be a place I like to go. It was then bought by Wendy's. Why? Because Wendy's couldn't invent it themselves for whatever reason. They're hidebound. In the meantime, McDonald's was buying Chipotle. And what this guy was bugged about, he says, listen, we're much better than Chipotle. But Wendy's is bad and McDonald's is good. Why is it that so many of these chain restaurants, Darden, Brink, or whatever, have to buy the concept rather than start the concept? Is it the same worry? And why aren't they afraid when they go to the boards and the boards say, why didn't you invent this?
Well, it's the same everywhere. Like, everybody buys rather than builds, even though building might often be cheaper. But look at a phenomenal growth story, P.F. Chang's, with their Payway chain. It's a new franchise chain, these small Chinese takeout places, and it's a great business. So sometimes
could be interesting stock again.
Yeah, it could be interesting.
Great growth stock.
You know, trades at 8 times cash flows right now. Applebee's just got bought at about 13 times cash flows. So, but you know, I think most places, even a Yahoo and a Google now, are starting to do more buying rather than building, because ultimately people get too big. They just want to swallow stuff up.
One last positive about P.F. Chang. My nephew, Cliff Mason, his mother loves it and says the lines are too long. That's Idea Muscle with James Altucher. Again, you got to check out his column every Tuesday in the Financial Times. And you've got Cramer.
Thanks a lot.